In this video, we will look at 3 simple trading strategies that deliver consistent results. We conducted an analysis and selected 3 successful traders who shared their trading strategies and gave a masterclass.
First, we need to wait for the MACD lines to cross, either from above downwards or from below upwards. Here we can see the crossover is happening from above downwards. This gives us a signal to go short, but of course that's not nearly enough. We look at our candlestick. The candlestick must not cross the white MA indicator line. If that happens, we definitely skip this situation. If it doesn't cross, then at the moment the candlestick closes, we open a short trade for 3 minutes. Take a look here, please. There you go. I think there's really nothing more to add. A 100% situation. Let's see what happens next. Next, as I understand it, we have the opposite situation. The crossover happens right on this candlestick. We open a trade at the moment the candlestick closes, and watch, there you go. The trade goes through absolutely without any problems as well. Go to the chart types, select candles, set the interval strictly to 10 seconds and the trade duration also strictly 3 minutes. Of course, experienced traders can experiment both with trade durations and with time frames. So next, go to the indicators tab and select 2 indicators, a moving average or MA for short, Al Musab newish, and 1 MACD indicator. All right, exit out. Go into the settings of the first MA indicator, set the period to 14, change the color as you like, and click Save. Now go into the settings of the second indicator. The period should be 10, but here's an important point. As you can see, the moving average should not be SMA, but SMMA. Set it accordingly, change the color, and click Save. Next, go into the settings of the MACD indicator. Here, your fast period should be 12, I believe. Set it to 16. After that, don't change anything else, and click Save. And now we have a perfect situation to show you what happens if you break the rules of the strategy. Look here. The MACD indicator also crosses the line here, but our red candle is below the white indicator line. And if someone sits there thinking, well, it's no big deal, what will happen if I break the rules just once? They open a trade for a decrease here. Now let's see what unfortunate result awaits them, simply because they couldn't control their emotions and made the trade. It would have been better to wait here. Let's take a look. Let's say they did wait, right? And here you go, the crossover happened on this particular candle. Look, the candle is not below the white indicator line, so everything is perfect. We wait for the candle to close up, open a trade for a decrease, and watch what happens. There you have it. We're getting an excellent result. Now let's find a few situations in real time, make some trades, and see what comes upon of it. So friends, it looks like we have our first situation. A crossover is happening, and I'm opening a trade for an increase for 3 minutes. Let's see what the result of the first trade will be. Let's get back to our first trade. As we can see, it's an extremely calm, extremely excellent trade. At least the first one is. Let's find a second trade, a second situation, and see how it plays out. So friends, we're finding the second situation. Now the candle is closing, and I'm opening a trade for a decrease for 3 minutes. Let's come back in 3 minutes and see what result we get. So friends, we're back to our second trade. Once again, our trade goes through absolutely smoothly and without any issues. Let's find a third situation. That's just excellent. And I managed to enter a 3-minute trade for a decrease just in time. That was really lucky. I switched to this currency pair at just the right moment. Let's check back in 3 minutes to see what the result will be. Alright, let's return to our third trade. There are literally 4 seconds left. This trade was also as smooth and trouble-free as possible. It's a pretty reliable and very interesting strategy.
A new indicator-based strategy. I have $10 in my account. And today, I'll be growing my deposit starting from this amount. Let's smoothly move on to setting up the chart. I go to the left corner and click on Chart Type. Now I select Candles. The interval should be set to 15 seconds, that is S15, and the trade duration should be 30 seconds. Click on S30. Now let's go to the Indicators tab. Here we select 2 indicators. The first is the Awesome Oscillator and the second is the Keltner channel. These are the 2 indicators we'll need today. Now I'll show you how to set up these indicators. And of course, let me show you the Keltner channel settings here as well. Here are the values, basically. Your setup should look the same as mine. I removed the middle line and set the color to turquoise everywhere. The second indicator is the Awesome Oscillator. Do you see the values? I also set the appearance to turquoise. That's it. Our indicator strategy is ready to use. Let me find a suitable situation and make the first trade based on it. Currency pair Cachefix OTC. Here I'm making a trade. Let me press max for 30 seconds down. Alright, my trade is open. We wait for this trade to close, and then I'll explain to you how a sell signal is formed with this indicator strategy. So the first trade closes confidently, in profit. Net trading profit is $8.82. My balance is already $19.45. Basically, let me explain to you the logic behind the movement in this indicator strategy. So the entry point where the trade was opened, why did I open a sell trade? Let's pay attention to our Keltner channel indicator. At the moment when the price moves out of the area, we open a sell trade. So you can see the situations here. The first situation, the price broke out, we opened a trade, sure, and closed with a profit. The second situation, we opened a trade and also closed in profit. And the third situation is basically where we opened. But here, we actually got a whole long-term movement. That is, the price moved out of the indicator zone and we opened a sell trade. The second indicator also needs to be taken into account because we're using a combination of two indicators. Why did I open a sell trade here? Because the histogram was below the zero mark. This is also a signal to sell. That's the entire analysis for this trade. We locked in a profit. Let's go ahead and open a second trade here for $30, also a sell. So it's the same analysis as before. When the price moves out of the area of our Keltner channel indicator, we open a sell trade, meaning we go short. If the price moves out in the opposite direction, upwards, we'll open a buy trade in the same way. So the second trade also closes in profit. The ending was a bit nerve-wracking, but overall, we finished in the green. We increased the trade amount to the entire deposit, hit the max button, and move on to the next currency pair. After 2 wins, we switch to another currency pair. The next currency pair is EUR-USD. Here, I open a buy trade for 30 seconds with an amount of $35. Let me explain the entry for this trade as well. I hope I have enough time. The Keltner channel indicator, here the price on the contrary has moved out of this area upwards. This means that we open a trade for an increase. The second indicator is the weighted oscillator. Here, the situation is also the opposite. The histogram is above the zero mark, so we see 4, 3, 2, 1. What will happen here? Here, the trade closes in profit. Great, great. Meanwhile, the balance is already $68.33. I'm increasing the trade amount to the entire deposit. I press the max button again, and we'll look for the next opportunity. The next currency pair is Bahraini dinar Chinese yuan. I'm opening a 30-second buy trade. The trade is open. Let me quickly walk you through this trade as well and explain the analysis. Keltner channel, the price has broken upwards. So we open a buy trade. The second indicator is the weighted oscillator. Here the histogram is above the zero mark. That's it. That's the entire analysis for this trade. There are 4, 3, 2, 1, 0 seconds left and the trade closes in profit. We're already locking in, it turns out, the 4th or 3rd win in a row. I'm increasing the trade amount to the entire deposit. The next currency pair is the Saudi Riyal Chinese Yuan. I'm opening a buy trade for 30 seconds with an amount of $131. Let me also explain the entry for this trade. The situation here is absolutely similar. Keltner channel indicator. The price is moving out of the zone upwards. That means we open a buy trade. The second indicator is the weighted oscillator. Here, the histogram is above the zero mark. So we see this and open a buy trade. The final 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and the trade closes in profit. Super. The account balance is already $251.88. Guys, I started with a deposit of just $10. I'm increasing the trade amount again to the entire balance. I press the max button and look for the next opportunity. The next currency pair is US dollar Colombian peso. I'm opening a buy trade for 30 seconds with an amount of $251.88. I'll also explain to you the entry for this trade. Here, I focused on the moment when we got the emerald. Keltner channel indicator. When the price moves out of the zone upwards, we open a trade upwards. I've repeated this several times already. The second indicator is the weighted oscillator. The histogram is above the zero mark. We see this as well, so we open a buy trade. The final 4, 3, 2, 1, 0 seconds remain, and the trade closes in profit. I've lost count of how many trades have closed in profit, but that's the kind of success rate this indicator strategy has. I press the max button and increase the trade amount to my entire deposit. My deposit, just for a second, is $483.61. We started with $10. I decide to take another buy trade here on this same currency pair. So, friends, if you see good opportunities for yourself, work this currency pair several times. At the very least, everything here matches up just as it should according to the indicator combination. But in addition, I waited for a small pullback and opened another buy trade from that pullback. So, 1 second, the trade closes in profit and the deposit is now $928. Friends, we started with $10. Now I've multiplied my deposit by more than 90 times. This is honestly a crazy result. I'm increasing the trade amount to my entire deposit, and most likely, this will be the final trade. So the next currency pair is AUD CHF OTC. Here, I'm opening a sell trade for 30 seconds with an amount of $928. I acted way too hastily. Basically, you saw that when I opened my trade. But let's see what the result will be here. I'm hoping that the chart will still turn downward now. So the final 2, 1, 0. The trade closes in, profit, and now my balance is $1,773. I started with $10. So I've multiplied my deposit by more than 170 times regarding this particular trade. Yes, I definitely rushed here. You could say I got lucky. But still, I'm sure that in a couple of candles there will be a downward movement here. Here, maybe it's already starting to form. Take a look at the current trend. In other words, the price is trying to break through and escape from the lower line of the Keltner channel indicator. As soon as it manages to do that, there will be a long-term downward movement here. Additionally, my words can be confirmed by the second indicator, the awesome oscillator, because at the moment the histogram is below the 0 mark. This also contributes to the price decline. Right now I was looking for the next currency pair, but I still decided to stop here. I multiplied my deposit by 170 times. That's enough for me. Let's sum up our trades. And here are all the closed trades in front of you. We started with a deposit of $10 and reached a deposit of $1,773. So we locked in 3, 6, 7, 8. 8 wins in a row. If you haven't registered on Pocket Option yet, follow the link in the description and sign up.
I'll be working with a 30-second candle interval and a 2-minute trade execution time. To start, select the candle's chart type and set the candle interval to 30 seconds. Next, immediately set the trade execution time to 2 minutes. Then, let's add the indicators. Today we'll be using DMarker and ADX. Using these indicators together helps you better understand price behavior in the market. DMarker indicates overbought or oversold conditions, while ADX shows the strength of the trend. But first, they need to be properly configured for this time frame. For the DMarker indicator, change the period to 6. Next, in the View tab, we'll skip the main line for now and set both boundary lines to white. Now let's go back to the main line and change it to a histogram and save all these settings. A bit later, I'll explain why it's more convenient to work with the histogram. Next, in the ADX indicator, change the first value to 36 and the second value to 9. Then go to the View tab and disable the ADX line. Set the plus line to purple and the minus line to white and save. Working with the DMarker histogram and ADX without using the ADX line is more convenient for trend trading because it simplifies the analysis. The DMarker histogram shows the strength of the trend without unnecessary information, while the ADX lines help identify entry points for trades. This reduces analysis time and allows you to navigate more quickly, focusing on what matters most. How do you work with this strategy? First, determine the direction of the trend. This is one of the main rules. Next, to start, we need to catch the initial change in the position of the candles relative to the DMarker indicator histogram. At the same time, you also need to catch the crossing of the lines in the ADX indicator. And here it doesn't matter which type of crossing it is. The main thing is that the candles in the DMarker indicator histogram are moving not downward, as they are now, but in the direction of the trend. When you see this, you need to simultaneously catch the crossing of the lines in the ADX indicator and open a trade in the direction of the trend, in this case upward. And the more frequent the minor crossings, the stronger the signal in the direction of the trend. The DMarker indicator histogram also visually shows clearly when the price is in the overbought zone and when it is in the oversold zone. At such moments, we do not trade. We only trade when the candles are in the middle zone and are just starting to change their position. And it is essential that the ADX indicator confirms the signal. And when you have identified and caught all three of these moments, you trade in the direction of the trend. And it's better to catch the direction of the candles moving with the trend, not like I'm doing right now. Pay attention to this. Now I find a more suitable currency pair with a trending movement. I wait, and with the new candle I open a 2-minute trade upward with an amount of $450. And even though I opened the trade only partially according to the strategy's conditions, trading with the trend has its advantages. First, it increases the probability of successful trades. Second, it reduces risk since we are moving in step with the market. And third, it requires less time for analysis. Now let's wait for the trade to play out. After that, I'll explain in detail how to combine the trend with indicators and what you need to pay attention to. The price doesn't change much, but my trade closes and brings me $396 in 2 minutes. And that's the result of minimal analysis, trading with the trend and a signal from a single indicator. So now let's get back to the chart. Here, the signal and the trade would have already played out. The moment has been missed a bit, so to speak. So I'll look for a clear example in another currency pair. I find a suitable situation and open a trade on a new candle for a decrease with an amount of $450, also for 2 minutes. Here, a strong impulse was given by the red candle, which indicates a sharp price change. Also, the candles in the DMarker indicator histogram are just starting to change their position. At the same time, in the ADX indicator, the lines have crossed each other. I've caught all the signals according to the conditions of this strategy, and now all that's left is to wait for the trade to play out. The price keeps falling and my trade closes. The price really dropped quite well, and my prediction brings me $364.50 in 2 minutes. Now it looks like a candlestick reversal pattern called bullish harami is forming here. And even though there isn't a crossover yet, the histogram is in the oversold zone. I think the price is starting to reverse here and there might be an impulse. I wait, and with the new candle, I open another trade, this time for an increase. And as you can see, the histogram candles are starting to move into the working area of the indicator. This can also confirm the possible beginning of a price change. And despite the crossover of the lines in the ADX indicator, that's an important step. That's not enough for a confident signal. You definitely need to wait for a new candle to appear in the working area of the demarker indicator at the same time as the lines cross in the ADX. Now this is not just an assumption but a fact of a price change. Also, analyze the previous chart and the moments when the price has already changed. Try to develop a trader's mindset based on assumptions, facts, signals from indicators, and the overall behavior of the market. And now let's just watch. The price keeps rising, my trade closes and brings me $337.50 in 2 minutes. This is roughly how you can execute trades using this strategy.